Hello, this is Roland. I'd like to read something to you. And it's very beautiful. It's from a man named John Smith, who was at Cambridge in the 1600s. He died in 1652. And I have just discovered Mr. John Smith and his writings, and I want to read something to you. This is from the Excellency and Nobleness of True Religion. He says, "But true religion is such a communication of the divinity as none but the highest of created beings are capable of. On the other side, sin and wickedness is of the basest and lowest original, as being nothing else but a perfect degeneration from God and those eternal rules of goodness which are derived from Him. So you see, we humans, created in the image and likeness of God, we are fortunate because we can sense the presence of God, and we can be aware of and know that principles exist, such as love, patience, courage, honor. See, animals do not know those things. They can't know them. The humans can. Okay? And this marvelous creation that God made, He made us His personal. He deemed the human race to be that which could be aware of Him and who could love Him. And it's a very wonderful thing. Now let me continue reading from this book, The Excellency and Nobleness of True Religion by John Smith. He goes on to say, this is very beautiful, religion is a heaven-born thing, the seed of God in the spirits of men, whereby they are formed to a similitude and likeness of Himself. It's a heaven-born thing. In other words, there's nothing of the earth in it. There's nothing of the human will, human cleverness, human intellect. It's from heaven. It comes not from us. Remember, Christ said, "Of myself I can do nothing. It is the Father within who doth the works." Okay? And so, and Christ said to us, He said, of yourself you can do nothing. You can't even make one white hair black or one black hair white. So, if the human perceives something of God, realizes something about God, or realizes the presence of God, senses the presence of God, then it is entirely of God. And that's why you can't you can't repent yourself. The first encounter that we humans have with God is our conscience, which is your closest link to God. It wouldn't feel like a conscience if you always did what you know is right in your heart, if you hadn't strayed. See, if you hadn't strayed, if you hadn't erred, if you hadn't been resentful and angry and willful, and if you hadn't fallen to the tempts and taunts and teases and challenges of the world, then you would have you wouldn't feel it as conscience. It would just be an abiding, your soul would walk in the light. And there would be no conflict with conscience, with your intuition. You would walk in the light. It would be a lamp unto your feet. But now you feel conscience. If you feel conscience at all, see, a lot of people don't. Maybe most people don't anymore, because we've fallen so far we have fallen so far that we don't even sense. We're not even in touch with our own intuition, and we don't feel conscious. People are capable of doing awful things and saying terrible things and foolish things, and not even having the slightest inclination that there's the slightest idea that there's anything wrong with it. Okay? Not the slightest. It's how far away they are from conscience. Okay? And all the things of the world, see, they have a purpose. See, God made all the things of the world. He made food and beautiful things to see in the mountains and the rivers and the lakes, and He made other people, okay? And He gave us the ingenuity where we can make iPhones and big screen TVs and MP3s and all of that, okay? But not to misuse and not to escape into. See, those things are there for our modest enjoyment for you and for whatever usefulness they may be. But not to escape into, not to escape from Him into. But the things of the world have a tremendous pull upon us. Somewhere it says in the Bible, it says that the sensual man cannot understand the things of God. They're foolishness to him. See, your animal brain, your animal intellect, your animal reason, your animal cunning, your animal feelings, your animal emotions, see, you are not capable without God of understanding the things of God without some help from Him. See, something has to be added. The human is capable of understanding the things of God, but only in the light. See, only in the light. But the light is from God. See, and God shines His light upon things so that you can so you can see them in His light. So all of this is to say that whatever is good, whatever is noble, whatever is of God comes from God. Okay? And it is given. We realize it. We see it. And we are even given the power to live it. Okay? If we want to do God's will. And if we give up our desire to resent other people, to be angry at other people, and to willfully, do things. So let's continue then. He says, religion is a heaven-born thing, the seed of God in the spirits of men, whereby they are formed to a similitude and likeness of Himself. A true Christian is every way of a most noble extraction of a heavenly and divine pedigree, being born from above, as it is expressed in John 3. Okay? The line of all earthly nobility, if it were followed to the beginning, would lead to Adam, where all the lines of descent meet in one, and the root of all extractions would be found planted in nothing else but Adama, red earth. The word Adama means red, okay? And it's also has the idea of red earth. See, Adam was made from the dust of the earth. So that's what we are. We are dust. Somewhere it says that in the Bible, doesn't it? Isn't it in the Old Testament somewhere where the prophet says that God has compassion on us because He remembers that we are dust. Well, what a remarkable thing it is when dust, is pulled together by the soul. The dust is pulled together by the soul in the womb, and the human is formed from the dust, from the elements of the earth. And then this dust-born creature is then, in God's light, able to know something of the Creator. And when this creature desires to do God's will, then this creature can begin to be formed in the likeness of, in conformity to, these noble principles, okay, that we know exist. See, when you were a little child, you knew that good exists, and you knew love exists, and courage exists, and friendship. You knew those things existed, okay? You didn't have any doubt that there was truth and goodness and sweetness, okay? You knew that. But you forgot it. As the years went by, you forgot it. Why? Because you became worldly. You sank into selfishness. You sank into self-preoccupation through resenting other people and through falling for their challenges and their taunts and their teases. See, you fell for them, and then when you did, you lost something. You lost this close link, this possibility of knowing God and living in God's light and being changed. Okay, you lost that. The possibility still remained, but you temporarily lost all touch with it, and you became completely worldly, and your selfishness grew, and your sensuality grew, and you sank further and further away. Okay. Well, it says here that the true Christian derives his line from Christ, who is the only begotten Son of God, the shining forth of his glory and the character of his person, as he is styled in Hebrew 1. We may truly say of Christ and Christians, as Zebah and Zalmunna said of Gideon's brethren, as he is, so are they. As he is, so are they. Okay? Each one resembling the children of the King. So now you see that you are dust, okay? But isn't it amazing how pride makes us forget that? I never forget, I knew a nice lady once. She was an officer with a title company, and a real estate title company. And she says, sooner or later, she said, we all have to realize that we're not the center of the universe, that we're not the most important person in the whole universe. Okay? Because that's kind of the way we act, don't we? We act as if we were. How dare he look at me that way? How dare she not say good morning to me? Who does she think she is? That sort of thing. Judging other people, condemning them, see? That sort of thing, which we do. And we try to make ourselves look innocent. It wasn't my fault. It was somebody else's fault. I couldn't help it. We make excuses. We justify. We rationalize what we do, okay? And if we are caught doing something foolish or wrong, see, and we can't avoid that being seen, then we blame someone else. Parents even blame their own children. That's how low we sink. We sink so low that parents even blame their own children for their wrongness and cast burdens upon their children. See? Well, okay. So, at a certain point, we, having fallen far away, are called back by God. And it is not of ourselves either, it's of Him. He calls us. So He calls us. He shines light upon our wrongs so that we might see it. And if this creature has a change of heart and lets go of pride and willfulness and judging others and condemning others and wanting to be respected and well thought of, if we're willing to give that up and we're willing to look at ourselves and see that we're dust and we're also wrong, see, and selfish, and we're willing to see that in God's light, then God's light changes us. And then the miracle of repentance as the first step to salvation is that we can be changed back. We can be changed back to what we were originally meant to be, a child of God. Okay? So let me just read it one more time here. It's just so beautiful. Where is it? Let me find it here. No, that's not it. Where is it? Religion is a heaven-born thing, the seed of God in the spirits of men, whereby they are formed to a similitude and likeness of himself. The true Christian is in every way of a most noble extraction of a heavenly and divine pedigree, being born from above, as it is expressed in John 3. The line of all earthly nobility, if it were followed to the beginning, would lead to Adam, where all the lines of descent meet in one, and the root of all extractions would be found planted in nothing else but Adama, red earth. But a Christian derives his line from Christ, who is the only begotten Son of God, the shining forth of his glory and the character of his person. We may truly say of Christ and Christians, as Zebah and Zalmunna said of Gideon's brethren, as he is, so are they, each one resembling the children of the King. My name is Roland.